Hello, everybody. Matthew Martin again. You know, many of you have heard of a move of God, and you might say, oh, well, the pastors, the evangelists, the prophets, the teachers, they'll bring in the harvest. Me, I don't know what I'll do, but that's not correct. Jesus is wanting all of us to bring in a harvest, and each one has a role to play. And you have a part to play in this end time harvest. And I want to give you a story from the Bible here. It's the parable of the three servants. And then we're going to talk and we're going to really bring it home. So stay with me. It's going to take maybe 2-3 minutes to get through the text. And then we're going to have some awesome stuff to talk about. So here we go. So the parable of the three servants. Again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of a man who was going on a long trip. He called together his servants and entrusted money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last person, dividing it in proportion to their abilities. He then left on his trip. The servant who received the 5 bags of silver began to invest the money and earned 5 more. The servant with 2 bags of silver went and earned 2 more, but the one who received 1 bag dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. After a long time, his master returned from the trip and called them to give account how they have used his money. The servant who was entrusted with 5 bags came forward with 5 more and said, Master, you gave me 5 bags of silver to invest, and I have earned 5 more. The master was full of praise. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a small amount. Now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate. The servant who had received the 2 bags of silver came forward and said, Master, you gave me 2 bags of silver to invest, and I have earned 2 more. The master said, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with handling a small amount. Now I will give you more responsibilities. Let's celebrate. Then the servant who had the 1 bag came and said, Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops and planting and gathering crops that you didn't cultivate. I was afraid that I would lose your money, and I hid it in the earth. Look, here is your money back. But the master replied, You wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I harvested crops where I didn't plant and gathered crops where I didn't cultivate, why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? At least I could have gotten some interest on it. Then he ordered, Take the money from this servant and give it to the one who has 10 bags of silver. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But for those who do nothing, even the little they have will be taken away. Now throw this useless servant into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So in the parable, we see that, the person with the 5 bags of silver, they earn 5 more. The person with 2, they earn 2 more. The person with 1 hid the money. So the thing is that never compare yourself to someone else, because you might only have 2 bags of silver and you're looking at the person with 5 bags of silver, and you're saying, you're looking at your abilities and their abilities, and you're saying, oh, I can't do what that person does. But what you're failing to recognize is that Jesus entrusted you with 2 bags of silver, or talents, or abilities, or giftings, or revelation, whatever that's what it's representing here. God has deposited something in you that you can use to bring in a harvest. And so yours might not be like the person with the 5, but the thing is that you have been given something, and you're not responsible when you've been given 2 bags. You're not responsible for earning 10. You're just responsible, you earn 2 more, right? So the thing is that you don't compare yourself to other people. There's many people that compare themselves to people, and then they get discouraged and say, oh, I can't do as much as so-and-so super person. And they get discouraged and think they can't do anything. But the thing is that you've been given gifts and talents and abilities, and you're called to bring in a harvest and earn some more. And, you know, we saw what happened to the person who had gifts and talents and abilities and you know, and revelation, and just hid it and did nothing with it. It didn't go good for that person. We don't want to be that person. So I just wanted to encourage you, you know, in the body of Christ, you know, Paul says that the eyes can't say to the feet, I don't need you. And to the hand can't say to the ear, I don't need you. And so each piece of the body has a role to play in the body of Christ. And you might not be able to do, if you're a hand, you might not be able to do what the eye does, but that doesn't mean you're not useful. And if you're the ears, doesn't mean you can't do what your mouth is doing. So the whole thing is here is that you have a role to play, and you have things that you can do. And so just go out there, bring in a harvest, use the talents, the giftings, the revelation, the knowledge that you have, and go in and bring in a harvest. Earn more for your Lord and bring in a harvest. And that's what we want to see in this end time move, you know, is that everybody needs to play their part. So build yourself up and go out and bring in a harvest. So I thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.